How's everybody today? Today on Cooking Up Shit with Bill, got some Eddie spaghetti rocking on the player. We're gonna make some rice risotto. So typically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start nice little frying pan. We're gonna put probably about, I don't know, tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna melt that in the pan. And while that's going, we're gonna get some garlic in there. Just enough till it melts with the butter. I try to get all this stuff prepped beforehand so I'm not wasting your time or mine. And you know, there's not as much lag time in between what I'm doing. So I usually typically put about, depends on how much you're making. If you're making a single serving, you could just put like half a tablespoon, but I'm making enough for like 3 people. So I put 2 because, you know, I mentioned it before, I like me some garlic. Nothing wrong with liking some garlic. Alright, so now that we get that on there, we're just gonna let that all melt up here. It's gonna take a little minute. I probably should have preheated my pan. While we're waiting for this to heat up and melt a little, how's everybody digging the Eddie? Eddie's awesome. If you don't know Eddie Spaghetti and the Super Suckers, you don't know rock and roll. And it's time to educate yourself on some fine music. Alright, we're getting there. So we're just going to melt this all in, mix it all up. Don't leave it too long though, you don't want the garlic to burn. Yeah, I should have started with a hot pan. Man, this is what happens when you do this stuff first thing in the morning. As soon as you wake up, before you eat, before you get some of that sweet Java in your system. Oh yeah. Alright, so also what we're gonna need today, Parmesan cheese. Typically you want to use the shredded parm. It's better for this, but you can still use this. I forgot to buy some, so I had this in the fridge. So to compensate for that, we're just gonna put like a little bit of shredded cheese. You probably can't see that because of the light, sorry about that. We're also gonna need some cream. I pre-cooked the rice already, so that's all ready. We just add that in at the end after we got everything else. And some diced carrots. Diced carrots here. We're gonna throw that in with the garlic. Get all that flavor in there. Usually I put celery too, but I forgot to buy some. So I just doubled up the carrots. Just to give it a little more texture, a little color, a little more appeasing to the eye. So we're just gonna let that all marinate in there. Till, you know, the garlic, you can tell when garlic's ready because it kind of turns to mush. It's not like the typical minced up pieces of garlic. It turns to like a soft, it's not hard. You can push on it and it's not hard. That's how you know when it's cooked. So you're just gonna let that simmer in there so it mixes in with all the carrots. You want the carrots to soften up a little bit too, which is gonna take a little bit of time. But it's alright because you still want them a little chewy when you're when it's all said and done. Okay, so we're gonna let that go for like another minute. Then we're gonna add in some cream. I totally should have heated up this pan. I apologize for that. I'll know better next time. I'm already like, what, 4.5 minutes in? I should be half done. But we're getting there. You can add some spices too, like little pepper. Who doesn't like pepper, right? Personally, I don't use salt in a lot of things. I'd rather use pepper. I also have a little Cajun spice I can put in here, just to give it a little bit of kick. A little kick's always good. But it's gonna be, you're gonna notice when it's done, it's almost like sweet. There, get the sizzle going now. Now we're talking. Okay, so once the garlic's pretty much melted, and you get the carrots in there, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna add the cream. You don't want a lot, just you know, enough to cover the bottom of the pan, pretty much, because you're gonna thicken it up with the Parmesan anyway. So you're gonna notice it changes like a, because of the butter in there, it's gonna be like a more like a creamy yellow color. Cooks, and you're just gonna let that pretty much boil. And once it's boiling, then you start putting in the Parmesan. And then as it's thickening up, you're gonna put in the shredded cheese. And then lastly, you'll throw in the rice. And that's gonna, you'll know when it's done, because when you're stirring it, it's gonna be like the cheese will be all melty. You'll notice that if you use the shredded parm instead of the powdered as well. It'll get stringy like a melty cheese. And then you're pretty much done. And you just throw it on a plate. So whenever this is done, I'll post a picture of the finished product so you guys can see what it looks like when it's all done. Thanks for watching, peeps.